But the best podcasts are the one that starts right away. Nothing, Noam?
I told you the best game show, Jeopardy, starts immediately with questions. The best political show, McLaughlin Group, starts issue 1.
That's why I'm starting right away.
And you know, it's funny.
But I couldn't say Jeopardy.
I just heard somewhere
I can't say.
Steve Martin was interviewed about stand-up comedy, and he said that he noticed like he sees comedians do stand-up. He says they waste their opening moments on stage without a confident opening.
100%.
And that is a key moment in a presentation.
Yeah.
So you need to be clear about it.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
I watch.
I was very clear about it.
Whenever I fly,
Can I talk? Is this on?
Whenever I fly, you watch comedians. You watch people watching comedians on the back of a chair, and you see. I monitor it. Like you see if they get it within the first 5 minutes. Boom, they go to the next movie. You know, it literally is.
Oh, wow.
It's so important.
So,
and then after he said that, I still like watch old Steve Martin stand up. He really is very clear in how he opens his show. Like like some comedians that we know have been doing it for 30 years. They get up there, they seem like they're never quite sure how they're going to open their set. You know,
right here.
Is that how you do it?
I like to meander.
It's not good. I mean, I haven't seen you do it, but it's not like Lenny Marcus, for instance. Lenny Marcus has a very clear. Okay, I know what I look like. Can this guy fix my printer? But it works, you know.
Every time.
You know what? So what?
I'm just saying it works every time.
Obviously, you've never been married.
No, but we started the show right away. This is 2018 Hatem. Our guest,
new and improved Hatem.
Yeah, but 2017, 2018 still got the vest on, don't
I know. But you know, we have Modi, comedian Modi, Stephen Calabria, China Brea. And you want to comedian Tony Darrow,
Stephen,
and Deepo.
If you don't have too many Twitter followers, you could probably just change your Twitter handle.
I could change it right now. Nobody would notice.
China Brea, it seems like it's from a different part of your life when you were Chinese.
It was, yeah.
You were Chinese?
I lived in China for 3 years.
Oh.
So I was Chinese, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to that story.
Beijing.
Anyway, so
I think we should get a different Twitter handle for him. Go ahead.
Yeah, amazing. Do you have Twitter?
No.
Okay.
That will be
it's good to get advice. Give advice.
Twitter will be my undoing.
I'm surprised that you don't have Twitter.
You don't like social media.
Yeah.
You're the one that told me to go on Twitter.
Yeah,
you don't have a comedy club, and you're a liberal.
Yeah, so.
You're not going to say something truthful that's going to ruin your life. You're not going to engage in some basic pattern recognition and get yourself.
So that's what you're afraid of, though, is saying something that will get
saying something honest is going to get him into trouble.
You're not going to get in trouble for some basic statistical truths. Go ahead.
So, what do you guys want to talk? You want to talk about Trump's tweet to North Korean leader about having a bigger button?
Yeah, you see John McLaughlin, when he does a political show, he never says, so what do you guys want to talk about? He says, issue 1, Trump's tweet.
Trump's tweet. What do you guys think of it? Modi.
It's a bigger button.
Because you're
okay, Modi's checked out on us.
Because you're a Trump supporter.
I want to talk about something with Noam that every time I walk in, he's either busy eating a salad or running out. So I want to discuss this with him now.
What?
And it's a pro-Trump situation.
So you ignoring my question? Okay,
100%. There's nothing to say. It was a stupid thing, but again, you're all forgetting. It's not politics. It is a reality show, and the only thing that makes a reality show move on is conflict. Now the people are involved with his button tweeter, and that's it. That's all. In a day or two, it'll be done. We forgot that he even sent that, right?
Yeah.
So,
but it's funny. We have to.
More important.
Yeah. Okay.
The Jews.
You have about 5 minutes before we call our guest. So go ahead.
We're not going to talk about the tweet?
No, let's talk about it.
I want to talk about the tweet.
What do you think about the tweet?
I think it's crazy. You know, I think a leader like this, the whole world is laughing at him. You know, have a bigger button. You know, he's not intelligent enough to answer the way, you know, who's scared of you if you say I have a bigger button, you know?
You know what? Now you have the international community. Weighing who's crazier, Kim Jong-un or Trump?
No.
How'd that happen?
We actually know. We know. It's Trump. Everybody knows.
Well, okay, here's my question. First of all, I said this earlier. I have to admit that when I heard that tweet, I didn't take it as a dick joke. Or is it as dick reference? Did you guys all take it as a dick reference?
Gun.
I didn't.
I might have a bigger gun than
That's
you.
an idiocy.
Because this has become received wisdom on like MSNBC that this was Trump comparing dick size.
I mean, it's not fair because the other guy's Asian, but you know.
There you go. Hatem's back. There he is.
Thank you very much.
Yay.
So that bothers
I mean, he's
me.
wired, but he's back.
I am wired.
Is it a dumb tweet? It's a dumb tweet, but you know there have been shades of it before where George Bush was kind of taunting Saddam Hussein, and
Wait a second. You're not going to compare what Trump does to what George Bush did with Saddam Hussein. I mean, this guy's tweeting on Little Rocket Man and
the Rocket Man thing really bothers me. Actually,
Yeah.
this tweet about just No, I'm not defending it. I don't like the idea about flippant about annihilation of the human race. You know, I get that, but and then Reagan got caught on an open mic making a joke about I'm launching the missiles to the Soviet. So it's not quite as unprecedented, all these things that they're making out to be if you transplant it into the modern era and Twitter. But as with everything Trump, the only thing that really bothers me about it is the fact that this was not arrived at other than as like an immediate impulse to just do something, as opposed to some people in the room thinking about it and saying, okay, this is I think the best thing. We should taunt him back. If they arrived at it through a strategy, then I'd be okay with it. He just can't control himself, and that is his problem. Do I think the tweet is dangerous? No, I think the tweet doesn't matter at all. The fact that he can't control himself, sooner or later that number is going to come up.
The fact that he think war is not a big deal, like
he thinks war is a big deal.
Well, he wouldn't be threatening with a nuclear weapon every time.
what about his tweet about
we got threatened.
Airline safety? You know, I've been really hard on that.
That's
Did you see
ridiculous.
that?
Yeah.
There's been a plane crash in what? How many years?
It's 2009.
Well, I mean, like a commercial flight.
I thought no American had died in a commercial airline since 2009. I read.
Well, I think that was that wasn't a commercial flight though.
Okay, it's been a long time since.
Yeah. So what is he taking? What is he taking credit for?
Nothing. He had nothing to do with it. And even if we did have them accidents last year and it stopped this year, it'd be nothing he would have done that could have been responsible for that.
Now that he said that, is there going to be a plane crash tomorrow? And then people's like,
You're flying tomorrow.
Thanks, Trump.
You're flying tomorrow.
I am
right?
flying tomorrow. Yeah. I still haven't canceled my flight. That'd be just my luck. Thanks, Trump. If that plane's going down, I'm going to think about that.
This is the ultimate issue about Trump that I can't ever unwind in my mind is that he's such a jackass, right? And every criticism we say about him is true, and he says these ridiculous things, and he takes credit for things. Yet, it would really make our case stronger if he had lost the election. In other words, like you make the case that this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, but he actually won the presidency of the United States using these patterns,
and he's still
with
campaigning
no money.
He's still campaigning.
So being not totally arrogant of myself, I have a reasonable person has to say to themselves, am I really sure that I'm right here? Because if he had taken my advice, he probably wouldn't be president. So I don't, that doesn't mean that exactly what he's doing is what he should be doing, but it might mean that some of what we think he shouldn't be doing maybe is smart.
Yeah.
But he did win the presidency.
He won, and the people that this tweet.
Well, that's not so
I know you guys
that's
are
the
upset,
goal.
but just take yourself out of watch it instead of be in it. The people that like this vote, my president told that he's got a bigger nuclear weapon than him. They're reading it as a gun joke. We're in New York at a comedy club. For us, it's a dick joke. But it's a gun joke. He's saying, I have bigger guns, I got a bigger button, and the people that are driving around.
And actually, it was funny. He said it actually works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He had a punch at the end, and the people driving around with a gun hanging behind their head in their pickup truck, they're like, yeah. And we're going to vote for him next election. He hasn't stopped. Campaigning.
Well, the thing I just want to answer Noam when they elected. I think people during the election thought that he was pretending or saying funny stuff he's not really crazy. But now they know that he really means everything he says. It's not just.
Well, it is fascinating that almost more than any other president I can remember, he is really trying to keep his promises. Right? Is there any?
He is.
He really like ticking off those promises.
Right.
That's true.
Which is,
and you're happy about these promises, aren't you?
No, some I am, some I'm not. But I'm just like everybody thought.
Let me guess your favorite one.
Moving in, no more transgender in the military.
What could it be?
I
what
wonder.
world capital?
We're also upset he's moving it to Jerusalem. We were hoping he'd move it where it belongs. Miami.
Yeah, it should.
He also the Jerusalem thing. I know, but he's also making a hash out of the historical reputation of the Obama administration in their foreign policy, because they didn't live up to their own red line. Trump bombed Syria one time. No more chemical weapons out of Syria.
Yeah.
Let the generals go. No more ISIS. We got to go. We were sold on the Iran deal that the money was not going to go to terrorism and that Trump was galvanizing the Iranians to be behind the mullahs. Well, turns out.
Yeah, but it's not only.
Turns out all the money is going to terrorism. The Iranian people are furious about it, and Trump is actually the catalyst for them turning against the mullahs. So everything that the Obama administration told us was wrong.
But
don't say well.
Yeah,
it's true.
Told us, yeah.
Now
But
you can tell me that Trump, this is happening. This is not his. This is because
But I mean, like,
Mattis or McMaster, absolutely. But who could have?
But
did Obama get anything right in foreign policy? Anything?
No, I don't think so.
Nothing.
No, and he had a choice. But however, it's like
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Did any problem he turned his attention to get better?
But it's like saying Obama was the reason we caught Osama bin Laden. Bush started the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Trump just came in. So everything you see is a result also of Obama's administration.
ISIS?
A little bit.
Well,
ISIS and Syria.
You know what? Except that if you read about it, I mean, there's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read about it, the military is saying, and some people on the left said that Trump lifted the speed bumps, or got rid of the speed bumps that were slowing everything down.
Yeah,
and that made all the difference. And the timeline that everything was taking place during the Obama administration was very, very slow, had no clear resolution, and as things go slowly, things can go wrong. Things can, you can have setbacks. But I'm going to put it another way. Why couldn't have Obama done what Trump did? Trump said, "Go ahead, do what you got to do."
Yeah.
Why couldn't Obama say, "Go do what you got to do"? Clearly, because it worked.
Yeah.
So Obama was wrong.
I think he just didn't want to start.
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't know what you're talking about.
Trump pulled out all the stops and said, "Get ISIS." They used the biggest bomb they've ever dropped on anything in history for
that was in Afghanistan that they dropped that bomb. That doesn't.
Was it in
Afghanistan?
Was it in Afghanistan?
Yeah. Afghanistan. Yeah.
Well, whatever.
But to scare everybody, I guess.
I don't know the details, but I know that from what I've read on the left and right.
I just know they bombed somebody.
Go ahead. So we're gonna call this lady.
Jews. Yeah. So we have our guest. We're gonna call her right now. Lynn
I know where you were going with that, but you got interrupted. But all right.
Oh, it's pretty good, right?
We'll circle around for that.
It's pretty good. Thank you for being with us. Can you tell the listeners? Can we start with the story just really quickly with Russ to give them an idea?
Sort of an overview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ross, my son, is Ross Ulbricht, and he was a very idealistic 26-year-old who was very involved with Ron Paul and the freedom movement and all kinds of economic theory and he was very interested in free markets. And he had actually created a video game when he was younger that would give people an experience of playing a video game and experience free markets, and almost got it published and didn't. And he turned to the internet, and he created a website, a marketplace. The whole point of the marketplace was to protect the privacy and anonymity of users and allow people to decide what they wanted to exchange. And some of the things that were exchanged, well, there were a lot of legal things, and there were illegal things, including drugs. There were some things were prohibited that victimized people or were not voluntary. So, for example, despite what some media has reported, prohibited was child pornography, not allowed. Violent weapons and services, not allowed. Stolen property. There was a list that, because they weren't voluntary, and the whole philosophy behind it was voluntary interaction. And the only means of exchange was the very little known at the time cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. And the whole idea was anonymity. And so that's kind of the background. And then Ross is now serving a double life sentence plus 40 years in a maximum security prison. I've about 20 minutes from where I'm speaking right now. All his charges were nonviolent. There's no charge of any violence, any harm to anyone directly from Ross. And he's in a maximum security prison with violent people and gangs.
I don't understand.
And for life.
I don't know how is it? How could they sentence him to life in prison without the possibility of parole? Where does that come from?
Any federal conviction. The federal government took away parole in the 80s, and no one in the federal system is eligible for parole. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's horrible. It's evil, but that's the way it is. That should change.
What charge was he charges was he convicted of?
Well, he was sentenced. What he was sentenced to and what he was convicted of are slightly different, but just as a vague, an overview, it was trafficking for narcotics. They also threw on the kingpin charge, which has its own life sentence, saying that because he created a website and claimed he ran it the whole time, that he was a kingpin. He was analogous to, Pablo Escobar or El Chapo, because he was running a website. And so those are 2 life sentences right there. And there were some other sentences that added on, like money laundering. They always put that on there. Computer hacking, even though he never was accused of actually hacking or of actually selling drugs or anything. He was just accused of the platform, but that other people had software on the site that could be used to hack. And fake IDs was on there too. But one of the things about this sentence is that Ross and his team have recently petitioned the Supreme Court, and part of the petition addresses the sentence. It's an outrageous sentence. It's just a draconian, barbaric sentence.
So the kingpin one isn't it? He's supposed to be managing at least 20 people or something like that.
They're supposed to name 5 people the kingpin manages and organizes. They never named anyone. So they never even named anyone. So it's all anonymous.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, as far as the judge sentencing him to double life, she used uncharged crimes. There was an allegation by the government that Ross planned murder for hire. It was never brought to trial. It was never ruled on by a jury. It was never proven. Ross denies it. And even the so-called victim, Curtis Green, has tweeted that he doesn't think Ross did it. And yet this judge decided that applied, and she went from a maximum of 30 years. She used that to make it life. And this is unconstitutional, puts us all in danger, because we can have rogue judges and judges abusing their power with no constraint by the Sixth Amendment, which says a jury decides if you're guilty or not. You don't get to bring in something a jury never even heard about and say, I decide he's guilty and I'm going to give him life because I've decided. So she has no authority to do that, and yet she did.
So let me ask you, you must speak to very good lawyers, and I'm a lawyer, although I never practiced, but it sounds to me like if what you're saying is as you're saying it, that you have a very, very strong chance of winning an appeal here, because this is pretty basic law 101, that a judge can't use some charges that haven't been litigated or ruled on by a fact finder as basis for a sentence.
Well, you would think that the appellate court would have questioned it, but they upheld it.
And what was their reasoning?
The Supreme Court. And that was in the, of course, the appellate court. That was in New York. They just, they took it as fact that it was true and they upheld it. I don't know exactly their words. They certainly refer to it a lot and as if it were true.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I read it.
I want to read
actually.
that decision. That seems
and the Silk Road 2.0 did not get any charges, and it was the exact same thing, correct?
Blake Benthal, who the government even said, well, he's an equivalent. He did in fact, it was actually some months bigger, sold more drugs than Silk Road. He's admitted to being the owner and operator, and the FBI in their criminal complaint said it's designed exactly the same. It serves the same illegal function. It's identical. He got no time, and so if Ross is so dangerous that we need to be protected from Ross for the rest of his life, how come Blake Benthal's not a danger? And I'm not saying I want him in jail. I'm just saying let's have some equivalency here.
And have you been able to get any politics? Like I know Chuck Schumer was apparently, involved in hounding him, right? And in bringing the law.
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer. Excuse my language.
Yes.
If this was some,
no, it's fine.
If this, let me tell you something. You tell me if I'm wrong, Tony. And I'll put something. If this was like a black guy who had killed a cop, who was in jail with double life with no parole, Chuck Schumer would be championing him and how it's a terrible sentence and it's unfair, right? But this guy is. I mean, maybe. I don't know the moral issue about. I mean, these things are tough. I have kids. I don't want them taking drugs. I wouldn't want my child getting drugs in the mailbox at 14. And I certainly might hold your son in contempt if he was facilitating this. But double life without parole, especially in light of the fact that there's an ideological kind of approach here, which I agree with, which is get government off our backs, libertarian, do it. I want to do what we want to do. And people may cross moral lines, and maybe he's young and didn't see there, but this sentence this is just reprehensible.
Plus, it's a nonviolent crime.
It's a nonviolent crime,
it is if it's not your kid that overdoses. I mean, I don't mean. Listen, I'm on your son's side, but I just don't want to pretend that if I was somehow hurt by this, that I would think it's nothing. It's not nothing. I'm sure people can be hurt by this. But at the same time, as I said, I very strongly agree with his kind of ideological view of the world. And I think the government, I think the idea that we should be able to do things anonymously is very serious. In the old days, you could pay for something with cash and put money in the toll booth and travel and do things and your wife wouldn't find out about it. You could do things anonymously. But now you're like literally everything leaves a digital trail now.
Your phone, everybody knows where you are.
And that's a problem, and I think this is what he was trying to lash out against. Am I correct?
Yeah, I want to address a few things you said. It's very good points. Okay. Ross was in his mid-20s, and we all know that guys in their mid-20s do things. They don't think things through. He was very zealous.
That's right.
And yes, it was all about freedom. And I'm not defending Silk Road. I totally get what you're saying. I get it. Yeah. In that aspect of it. And I have a lot of feeling for anyone who was harmed there. Although it wasn't all harm, and I've had people tell me they got their insulin there, they can't afford it now, and that kind of thing. But I'm not here to defend Silk Road. Yeah, but at the same time, people mature, and that's why the life sentences have quintupled since the 80s. But, Ross has matured. He's now 33. He looks back, and he's like, of course he wouldn't get out and do it again.
Yeah.
But let me say something about Chuck Schumer, because I don't believe this case is about drugs at all. The biggest drug dealer on Silk Road got 10 years, and it goes down from there. The biggest cocaine and heroin dealer got 5. The biggest meth dealer got 3. And as we pointed out, the Silk Road 2.0 guy got none. Chuck Schumer was on the Senate Finance Committee, and I believe was about Bitcoin and an alternate currency that was out of government control. And I think that is what went off on their radar, and also about Tor and the ability they can't control Tor. It's like it's anonymous on the internet. And they even said in their papers, the prosecution, anyone who uses Tor has criminal intent. Well, that's absurd. I mean, dissidents all over the world use Tor. Journalists use it. people who just want to have privacy use it. So I don't think it was about drugs at all. They made that quite clear. The other thing about the philosophy, the judge said right there blatantly in the sentencing, we know you created this site for a philosophy, and I'm not sure that's a philosophy you've given up yet. And so we're going to have to basically put you away for life because of this, she called it dangerous and troubling philosophy, and cited a quote from the site, not necessarily Ross's quote, saying the government is the oppressor. And for this, this is a First Amendment violation. We're allowed to say the government's the oppressor if we want to. We're Americans.
So
Thomas Jefferson said we're supposed to do that.
So it's a thought crime.
And the other thing about kids, one other quick thing, is that it wasn't easy to get on Silk Road. And I'm, again, not defending it, but you had to open a Bitcoin account. You had to know how to use it. You had to know how to use Tor. I don't think I could have done it. But in any case, it's not, look, Ross would never get out now and make another Silk Road. That's absurd. They talked about recidivism in the appeal. I'm like, what are you talking about? But they also are making an example of him because it's high profile.
Right.
So,
but meanwhile, these pharmaceutical companies are flooding the market with opioids, and nobody does anything. And people are
the
dying
banks
from
are
that.
laundering. HSBC laundered, I don't even know how many millions of dollars in drug money, and nobody went to jail.
Mm-hmm. Is there any politician that you try to reach that could help?
I plan to do that more actively. I mean, I've had so many things on my plate, but I have spoken to politicians who are supportive, especially for criminal justice reform, and it crosses both sides of the aisle, which is really good. I hope people are seeing the drug war feeds the criminal justice machine now, and our prisons are just overflowing, and over 60% of the people are nonviolent. And there are 17,000 nonviolent people serving life right now. Ross isn't unique. It's like they're caging people at an alarming rate in this country.
Where's Amnesty International with this? Are they involved in this at all?
No, I could reach out to them. I should put them on my list. Yeah. I think I have written them a long time ago, but probably worth circling back. Right now we're really immersed in the Supreme Court, and the petition was filed December 22nd, and it addresses the sentence, and it also addresses the issue of the Fourth Amendment and using not getting a warrant or probable cause to basically track Americans through their email addresses and use pen trap and trace devices. And this is up before the courts, and they're allowing it, and the appellate court shot down the argument based on this third-party doctrine, which is based on Smith, a case called Smith, that was ruled on almost 40 years ago based on the dial telephone, and they haven't updated it, and they're using it to get away with tracking Americans without a warrant. So this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, as you're talking, I'm just telling you. I'm a parent, and I just can't imagine the pain of a mother. And the idea that a kid does something stupid, but has no intention of doing any harm.
That's true.
And the idea that somebody could be serving life, and then that judges could feel okay with somebody doing essentially the unthinkable consequences for somebody who had no intention to do something horrible to anybody. It's beyond me where people who do, like, you could take out a pistol and point it at somebody's head and shoot them to kill them. And if a medical miracle intervenes and they don't die, you might get only 5 years. Attempted murder, even though you wanted to kill that person. That was what was in your heart. Oh no, you got lucky. Right. And you have another kid who does, I'm going to set up a place where people can be an anonymous marketplace, and spun out of control a little bit, and now they're selling drugs as if people don't take drugs every day. And now, I mean, it's a cliche calling something un-American, but it really seems un-American.
It is un-American.
Yeah,
it is un-American. You're absolutely
and
right.
I'll take the other side from him. I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. A week and a half ago, there was a.
This is about Mashiach.
No, it's about a guy that was also given a draconian sentence. He was a farmer that had illegal immigrants, and he had tax stuff. Wasn't cute, but wasn't like murdering and hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
They threw him in jail for 28 years to make a case out of him. And his wife and many parts of the Jewish community rallied for him. And a week and a half ago, Trump just released him. Only 8 years.
I know about that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, it's good.
And his wife. You should watch the videos of his wife.
I'd like to know how they got Trump's pension. I would like to be able to appeal to Trump. I'm
going to tell you exactly how to do it, and I'm not kidding. You got to get the guys on Fox and Friends in the morning to talk about this case.
They really should.
That'll do it.
Apparently, that's what he.
But the guy that got out of jail, he didn't. It was of course Trump that thanked him, but he said in his whole 8 years he never lost faith and strength in God. His wife drove around the whole 8 years with his suit and his hat and everything ready to go pick him up.
By the way,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Really
look at the interviews. It's unbelievable. She knew one day they would call. They said we're going to call, and that's exactly what happened.
I wasn't clear on what you said.
Wow.
Does the Supreme Court agree to take the case, or are you just appealing to the Supreme Court?
No, the petition, it hasn't even been docketed yet. It was filed on December 22nd, and we won't know if they agree to take it. We hope they will. They did agree to take Carpenter versus U.S., which is also a question of, it's very much similar, but it's about cell phone tracking, and this is internet tracking. But it really needs to be addressed as well because, look at they can find out all kinds of relevant and personal information just from our IP address and, political persuasions and, all kinds of things that they don't need a warrant for now. And they're saying, well, it's okay because 40 years ago on a dial telephone, it was okay to know the phone number someone was dialing. It's like, it means they're applying 20th century law to the 21st century. It doesn't fit. And the Fourth Amendment's being, basically sliced and diced and rendered irrelevant unless it's.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry. I know you have SaveRoss.org, correct?
Yeah, freeross.org.
Freeross.org.
Right. Being revamped, so we're working on it.
But it seems to me that you're kind of fighting this alone.
Well, to be honest, it is mostly me.
Yeah.
I and my family. My husband supports us, and I work full time, and other friends and family help. But we're small, absolutely. I've got a big mouth, so that helps. But it's such a I realize it's bigger than Ross. Really, the more I've learned and seen up close and personal how people like Chuck Schumer and others, and the prosecutors and the government, how they operate. And it's not just us. I get to know the families in the prisons. I see those children who are devastated, who are being harmed, and will probably end up in prison themselves. Statistically indicated that they will. This is a national disgrace.
It is. That's why I'm surprised you're doing all this on your own.
Why do you think there's a media? There seems to be almost a media blackout about this case.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, we've turned down some big media because we don't really. I've been a little hesitant because I feel like things have been twisted, and now with the Supreme Court, we might get more coverage. We have a very top lawyer, Supreme Court lawyer, handling it, which we're very grateful for. I don't know.
What about the ACLU? Are they helping you?
Not so far.
You've asked them?
Yes.
Well, we know an ACLU lawyer. We know an ACLU lawyer pretty well. We're gonna talk to her.
Okay, because it would be great if they would like to join the petition.
What the hell is with the ACLU?
It's an amicus. They are the lawyers for Carpenter, which is that companion case, and that may be why, because they're, maybe it's not overstretching it to do both. I don't know, but no, they declined. to write an amicus. But maybe if it gets heard by the court, then more people are willing to join, and maybe they will then. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a far-reaching case. It's not just about Ross and our family. Of course, like you say, being a mother, he's such a great person too. I mean, he's worth fighting for. But it is rough. I won't deny it. Emotionally, everything. It's been very, very hard. But I can't let him die in there.
Yeah.
I can't.
And I think it's too. He was charged for an idea, and I think that's wrong.
He was.
And
a platform.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
how is he holding up?
Well, I'm amazed at how well he's handling it. It's tough, especially now that he's where he is. There's some tough things about it, but Ross is intentionally positive. He won't say anything against anyone who put him there. He just goes, look, we need to keep, stay positive. He's in the law library all the time. He works with the lawyers on the Supreme Court petition. I have relocated to be near him so that I can visit him a lot, and he has that connection because otherwise, you can get lost in there and buried and never heard from again kind of thing. I mean, you are, but I mean, it tells your world. But he's doing all right. He's, but it's rough. I won't say it isn't. It's been over 4 years. He's very intelligent. He has a lot to give. He's taught classes in prison. He's helped guys get their GED. He's helped them get into college. He taught a yoga class. He taught a physics class. He's done all kinds of, he's just a good guy. He really is. And he's not a threat to anyone. And even guards have come up to me and said, he doesn't belong in here. What's he doing in here?
So how can people help now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me just say, he's only in there because the sentence that judge gave him, because his score would put him way lower in a much less violent place. But anyway, that's how it works. Well, of course, fighting this is expensive. So we always need donations. You can donate at freeross.org. And there's other, there's a tax deductible option. There's there's different things on the site that you can do. We need connections, like you were talking about, people being pardoned, or, people who are powerful to understand the far-reaching impact of this and how wrong it is. I'm just me. I'm not. We could use some connections and help to get some powerful voices behind us. I'm hoping the Supreme Court petition will help with that. And just spreading the word. We have a good amount of social media presence. People get advice. And I do have a lot. I want to say it's not just me. I have, in terms of volunteers and help, and some people have stuck with us helping with all kinds of things. So I do have.
I just think you need professional, media, PR, stuff like that. You need, it's good to have people helping, but I think you need to reach out to, people need to hear about it more.
If they do it right, if they, like you guys, can see it.
There's that documentary.
Then they love the sensationalism of, big good guy gone bad and all that.
Yeah.
Right. There is a documentary, Deep Web, and that only goes up to the trial, but that's gotten a lot of exposure.
Does that help you financially when people pay for the documentary? Do you guys get any money from that?
No, we don't. But but it certainly has helped get out the word, and and I think they did Alex Winter, the director, did a really good job, and so it shows, it's a more thoughtful one than a lot of them. So he sees the big picture.
Okay. Well, we're gonna post it on our website as well, and I think
thank you. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
And
really
I think we will, we'll talk to some people. We'll be in touch. We want to do another interview, soon to follow up with you. When is the date that you would know about the Supreme Court?
If they're going to hear it?
Yeah.
I've been told it can take till June. It takes a while. We will be knowing in the next month what people have joined, what amicus groups have joined, and But as far as the Supreme Court accepting it, that might be about 6 months.
Okay.
So.
Well, be strong.
Well,
You know,
good luck, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's countless examples of the American system when the chips are down, actually turning around to do the right thing, you know, and valuing justice. And I think you have reason to be optimistic. I think.
And miracles do happen. Miracles do happen.
They do.
So,
They do, and I'm clinging to that.
And we will do our best to see what we can, help with, and we ask all our listeners to do so too.
And I'm wearing my Free Ross shirt.
Oh yeah,
so
if you can see, yeah, he is. Yeah.
Post it.
I was.
Post it, and I'll retweet it. Post a picture.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for reaching out to me, and I really, really appreciate it. You've been great.
No, of course.
Thank you, ma'am.
And would Ross be available to talk on the phone or no?
No.
No, not at this stage.
Okay. What about an interview? Because I know the New York Times.
He would love to.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
I'm going to tweet that picture now, Lynn.
And he's tweeting. Yeah. There we go.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Oh, what? You're what?
I'm going to tweet the picture.
Well, how's she going to see it?
Cool.
You're going to hashtag her?
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, do I hashtag you? How do I do
yeah.
it?
Oh my God. Free Ross.
Free Ross? Okay.
Oh my God. Wow.
Believe me, this is the guy who would never
watching,
get on tour.
Just watching him doing the selfie is horrible enough. Now I got to hear how. Oh my God, Lynn. I'm sorry you had to hear that.
He's 98. What do you expect?
Okay, let the poor woman go.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Len.
Guys.
Wow.
That's a crazy story.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
27 years old.
Wow.
Life in prison,
Wow.
I want to read the appellate decision and I want to know why the ACLU didn't want to help, because something doesn't make sense to me here. This is crazy. This is it sounds. I mean, from the facts that I saw in the documentary and from this woman, it sounds like a clear injustice. Is there something we don't
make an example out of him? That's it.
Yeah,
I agree.
But the New York circuit is not a conservative circuit. Why did they not what? I mean, you can't sentence somebody for a crime that they weren't charged with. That's a pretty big bright line.
Well, they said that they take
reversible error
into account when they sentence
you
them.
can't take it into account. You're not allowed to.
Well,
What? Yeah, but they can't take something that he's never been charged with and that hasn't been proven.
Yeah. And the drug dealer got 10 years, and he got it's crazy.
They can't say, we're gonna convict you for this kingpin drug stuff, but actually you were a murderer for hire. That's what we're putting you in jail for. We're not gonna charge you with that. We don't have the evidence to charge you with that, but we'll just use that to sentence you, which is the whole thing about the only reason we charge you anyway is to sentence you. So
that's insane.
So it's like a new system. We don't need to charge you. We can just sentence you.
Wow.
So that can't be. But I worry that there's some other aspect of this case that we're not aware of.
I mean, from what I researched, there's nothing really.
Are you going to call Lee Rowland?
I can't not call Lee Rowland now. I guess I will. Yeah.
Why would you not want to?
Well, no, it's not that I don't want to. It's that I have to now.
We're gonna have him here, right?
Her.
I mean, we're gonna have her.
She'll
here.
be here.
Yeah. I don't know.
Damn.
We can edit that part. So
Can he do interviews from prison?
Actually, that way.
That was good. I like his goal is this podcast succeting.
First,
you get Ross on this thing,
gotta
it's
get
better than his mother.
If you get him, actually, you can. By the way, that guy from This American Life, and they got him. They got him an appeal. So
hey, can you email me that appeals court upholds rolls over his life sentence creating silk? That has the a link to the
And I like how Modi put the Jewish people in the middle of the
I
conversation.
put God in there. God gave a miracle, and that's what happened.
All right, so let's go to the question you wanted to ask Noam about.
So we say, first of all, you're saying, first of all, I always think there's something with Trump. There's some things that are like, I don't know if it's behind the scenes. Maybe it has nothing to do with it. So this guy got out of jail. Noam.
I'm listening.
If you opened up Jew in the dictionary, it's a picture of him.
Next to you.
That's pretty
A
good.
beard.
That was pretty good and fast.
A beard.
And he's not even paying 100% attention. This is
whole
half
thing.
Noam.
And now this guy comes out of jail. This guy
sitting
comes
on your
out of jail.
A picture of him sitting on your face.
Nice.
Hashtag free Russ.
Go ahead, Mug. Sorry.
And this Rabashkin guy gets out of jail, and it's the last day of Hanukkah, the 8th night.
Yeah.
And it's out of nowhere. Trump pardoned him in the middle of the whole tax thing, and the middle of all the news being obsessed with Israel and the UN and moving into Jerusalem and all that.
Yeah.
And all that's going on. And while that's going on, Trump gets this guy out of jail. On Jewish social media, this was the biggest thing that has ever happened. 2 days, Crown Heights was closed for dancing in the streets. And like people out in Missouri, like in Jews in the end of the earth, it felt like a victory for the Jews have come, you know?
Yeah.
This guy that they've been protesting, Trump did something very smart. Right before he pardoned the guy, he posted all of the letters from the Democratic senators on the White House website.
Yeah.
So don't be like it's me asking to get him out. You guys asked me to get him out.
Yeah.
So I'm getting him out.
Those are the guys who wanted Jerusalem moved to the embassy moved to Jerusalem too.
I'm not sure, but whatever, if they want or not. But I'm just saying this all happened so quietly because Trump is focused on this reality show.
Yeah.
And his voters do not ever want to see.
Loves Trump.
Yeah.
These voters,
you like him.
These voters do not want to see this Jew get out of jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he did it. I can't explain to you in the Jewish world what it blew up. And I'm looking at CNN and there's like a little blurb on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, whatever happened to these celebrities 20 years ago. And then above that is this thing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did you see the Bannon story today?
Yeah.
Oh
but
my
Bannon
God.
was saying
It's talking about a
nuts.
reality show.
It's a reality show.
This
And
is
no one's
really
seeing
like-
that.
You know what? If he's going to go to war with Bannon now, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting.
That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. It's
But
a reality show.
I don't want a reality show
Well,
presidency.
then you got to change.
I want a
and
competency
America has to
presidency.
change. Now, well, you know what? Then give a compliment to America.
Okay.
We get what you are. And that's what we are right now. We are a reality show country. And everything that fuels us is conflict and drama and the tweets and schmidt, and he's on it.
Did you pick up on the thing that Bannon said? Now, I had one of my big issues with the press is that I just don't know what's the matter.
No.
Oh,
I emailed him something.
I don't know. We just don't know what to believe at all. You just don't know what to believe at all. Like there's this new story in the Times about how this guy Papadopoulos was drunk talking to the Australians, and that's how the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just seems ridiculous to me. It wasn't the New York Times that told us that it was Page who was responsible for the thing, and then he says that he tells them that he has Hillary's email. The Russians have Hillary's emails, but actually, if you think about it, it wasn't Hillary's emails that were released. It was John Podesta's emails that were released. And then wasn't it Comey who said that when they asked Comey, was Hillary's server hacked? Comey said, we have no evidence that her server was hacked. But if he knew that this Papadopoulos guy was saying that the Russians were offering him Hillary's emails, well, isn't that evidence that her server was hacked? So none of it.
No, not really. Just because he said that doesn't mean that.
But if it was enough evidence to want to investigate Trump and Russia, it was certainly enough evidence to think that her server was hacked. So the whole none of it doesn't all add up to me. But I mean, maybe it'll all.
But it makes for a
But
good show.
That
But wait,
meeting.
so when Bannon first came on the scene, we were told this guy was an anti-Semite.
Right.
What was Bannon's quote today about what the first thing he wanted to do when they took over?
Funny
The
of you
first thing we're going to
listeners
do
who
day
do-
one
any of you
is
listeners-
move the embassy to Jerusalem. This is this great anti-Semitic Trump-Bannon administration. Their first priority on day one is to move the embassy to Jerusalem. Nothing fucking is true.
What a great story.
And it's so upsetting to
And
me.
it's a win-win situation.
Wait,
for you.
hold on here. Hold on. For those of you listening who don't know what an anti-Semite is, it's someone who hates Jews more than he has to.
more than they deserve. More than appropriate.
That's pretty good.
I don't like that. That's what you're laughing at
I'm
in the
writing
corner
that
there.
down.
She's like, oh, that explains everything.
Everything else I said she wanted to throw up till now.
So what about Iran? What do you guys think is going to happen?
So I'll tell you something. So then, and they're talking about Trump is, degrading American institutions.
Yeah.
But the press is degrading itself. The number of stories that they have had to retract about Glenn Greenwald, left-wing anti-Semitic Glenn Greenwald, has been chronicling for the last year all the major stories that have had to be retracted about the Trump story. And it's shocking. Shocking. I mean, CNN getting the dates wrong. And I mean, it's just never seen anything like this. What is doing more damage to the press? Their self-inflicted wounds or Trump mocking them? Trump can mock them all he wants. So what did you say about Iran? Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. You tell us.
Why I don't have inside information.
Persian?
Yeah.
Shut up,
Come on, Tony.
What does he
don't
know
get
about?
technical.
You asked him about ISIS, yes. Al Qaeda, yes.
I can update you with ISIS and Al Qaeda.
Egypt, yes.
Yeah. But you think Trump is going to take credit if Iran falls down?
I'm telling you this.
Oh my God.
Democrats are hoping that the mullahs win. This is the nature.
Yeah, I know.
of the
I
nation.
know.
Right. Isn't that horrible?
Yeah.
They can't help it. They can't help themselves. This has been the thing. They want the
And
mullahs to win. They wanted the surge to fail. I mean, it
The
works
search
both
did
ways.
fail.
No, the surge.
The
didn't
search
fail.
failed spectacularly.
Well, you may think that, but
Well,
no one else thinks.
Well, the revolution is led
course.
by a lot of women because you guys keep saying we don't have women, we don't give them power and all that. The leader of the revolution is a woman. And a lot of the women over there is like taking the scarves off and just, leading the whole thing. See?
It all leads to mixed dancing.
I mean, you would have to imagine that these mullahs are tough customers, and
Oh, really?
Crazy power.
The name is his name is Mullah.
mullahs,
but this guy's the
they're
supreme
they're
leader.
gonna win in the end. I don't see how this
Yeah, no.
protest is gonna.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
What, the
I don't
protest
think
won't work, you think? You don't think?
I
so. No,
don't think
it's
so.
not going to work.
Really?
It's the Persian winter.
Iran is a closed country. They could do whatever they want.
Average
Nobody
spring
can,
first winter.
nobody, nobody can do anything. So the police is gonna stop them from,
These guys are nuts
They
over
gonna-
there. And it's a
they kind of
shame
like the
it's-
Jews. Like they will kill
Don't.
the people, the Palestinian people, but unlike the Jews, they don't have like a lot of support from other people. In the U.S. and the media
I
and all
couldn't
that.
follow that in that scenario.
No, yeah, you
Right.
know exactly what
You know
he
exactly what I'm saying.
said.
You've done it, Modi.
Are we done?
No, we have an email from one of the
From
fans every
Makate
day.
Barani.
From who?
Makate Barani.
Makati
Exactly.
Barani.
What kind of name is that?
I don't know.
I couldn't
One that's not on the list to my show.
Makati Barat. Is it a?
I think it
is
could
a
be-
Middle Eastern name or
No, it's not Middle
Asian
Eastern.
name?
No, it's Indian.
Oh, Brahani. I know Brahani. She was Eritrean. I don't know if it's the same thing, like an African thing. Go ahead.
Gotcha. All right. So the letter says, "Hey, Noam and Hatem, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. It's so nice to listen to you guys have a frank, insightful conversation. Sorry, on the day's politics, but from the perspective of regular Americans, not in the professional media bubble.
He called me American.
Yes.
I am, by the way. But
I wanted to make one counter argument to a point that I hear Noam make all the time on his podcast and the Comedy Cellar podcast. Noam has mentioned a few times about how his father and his generation of immigrants, sorry again, came to America, loving it immediately and wanting to adopt the customs here and become full Americans. I think the main difference between that generation's immigrants and this current generation of immigrants is U.S. foreign policy. If I'm not mistaken, your father was of a time when America acted as the great liberator of oppressed people in the world, whether it was fighting the Nazis or symbolizing freedom of thought during communist crackdowns in the former Soviet Union and other countries. Many immigrants today come here to take refuge from actions and conflicts that have direct ties to the U.S. meddling in their home country's affairs. So they don't come with the same rosy feelings and thoughts on America that previous generations once did. For example, I was born here, but my family immigrated from Eritrea.
you're right.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Wow.
You gotta hand it to me, fellas.
No,
That was a good one.
Wow. What are the odds?
Eritrea in 1990, a time when the U.S. and Soviet Union took turns funding the Ethiopian government for 30 years as they waged a brutal war on the civilians of Eritrea to quell our revolution. So my parents adapted and love America for the opportunities it provided them and my siblings and I, but they recognize that America's foreign policy has deep flaws, and the same is especially true for the immigrants coming now from the Middle East who see the destruction that our reckless foreign policy has caused everywhere from Libya to Iraq to Yemen to Afghanistan to Syria to Somalia, etc. Do you think my point has merit, Noam and Hatem? I'd like to hear your input on this.
That's a great point.
That's a great
Well,
one.
I've actually, I think, made that point. I think that I've said in one of these podcasts at one time that whether they're right or they're wrong, for instance, people coming from Mexico, we've talked about Mexico. Now, Mexico is, Mexicans are often raised on the idea of America being, and all through Central America and Latin America, America being a force for bad in their history, taking their land, and being responsible for their third world situation. And I mean, I forget how to pronounce his first name, but whatever. He's making points about American foreign policy that I could agree or disagree with whether or not America was right about those things. But he's accurate that is the feeling of those people coming from various parts of the world. And whether they are right or they're wrong, my only issue is how does that add up to a social fabric which holds together? If you're taking people from all over the world who believe that America is
Evil.
is evil, or even worse than evil, has been a force for the bad plight of their own people, then that is a different situation than in my father's generation. Regardless of whether my father was right about America. I mean, America was doing a lot of shady stuff in the 30s, I'm sure, in the 20s, and the story.
But there was no internet, and a lot of people didn't know at times.
The story of the Panama Canal, I don't think is that wonderful. But so I think his point is right. I agree with him. I mean, I don't agree with him necessarily that America. I don't agree with this case by case about what America is right or wrong about. But I agree with him. That is the difference. That people coming from the world don't feel the same way, and America's foreign policy is one of the things that bothers them. But whatever is bothering them about America, it bothers me that we can't pull together as a country for whatever reason. That's all. So I agree with him. I think it's a good point.
It is a great point.
Good letter.
Yeah.
Good letter.
Good
Good
letter.
question.
Good letter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yay. Golf clap.
I mean, America has tried to help Africa in many ways, right?
I mean, help.
Fighting famine.
Yeah, we were good big in the 70s. It was Frampton Comes Alive and then America. I don't know what happened.
In the 70s?
In
The foreign,
we're huge in the 70s.
the foreign policies are horrible, starting with who. But yeah, I agree with them.
Who?
And Israel. And it's not that we think America is evil. We think it's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like.
This is from a culture that really values fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
The great legal Oliver Wendell Muhammad.
First of all, if you
I don't mean to be flippant, but I'm saying, come on, America's not fair. Have you? This is my beef with.
I'm saying foreign policy, they're not fair.
Okay, but this is my thing. If the Middle East is a basket case, there's no fairness or consideration of fairness in the relationships between any countries in that part of the world.
Same action, two different results.
Okay.
Why?
I take it back. You're right. I'm just still mad at Ray Allen. You're right.
Okay, so are we done? Okay, so yeah, I think this is it, right? How long have we been in?
We've been at it for an hour and 5.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta go.
All right, well, thank you so much. Modi, Twitter,
shows modilive.com, modilive.com. Have a bunch of stuff coming, a lot of private events, but otherwise I'm at the Cellar, I'm at the that's my home club, and then I'm LA this weekend,
and he's been on fire, sold out every show in December, and
right.
yeah, Steven,
China Bria, listen to the Comedy Cellar podcast and Live from America. Also, if you have a recommendation for my Instagram and Twitter, feel free to write it in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Supreme Leader.
I like that.
Yeah.
Supreme Leader. Tony?
I don't know what he just said. Yeah, Tony Darrow at Twitter, and you could be one of my 8 followers. She had a retweet that got 600
I never
likes.
tweet, and I have
1600?
something in the thousands.
What was it?
What was it?
It was something to
Sally Yates?
I retweeted. I think my biggest retweet is like 13, and 4 of them were me.
I've got like
Different names. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I got nothing. I'm like the invisible Twitter account.
And Deepu?
People can follow me at R2Deepu and my website streamguru.net.
He's also available for voiceovers. And then I said,
Dude, talking downwards actually like causes a lot of phlegm.
Shut up. You stunk with the voiceover.
Wait a second. R2.
Deepu. DEEPU.
Someone help him, for God's sakes. He's
And you
struggling
can-
tonight with that.
You can email us. Noam didn't do the Comedy Cellar email.
I thought I did.
No.
Did you send something to it?
You didn't send me any information. I don't know how to log in or anything. So for now, you could go to LiveFromAmericapodcast.com and email us at LiveFromAmericapodcast
I'm pretty sure I did it.
at Gmail until we get the Comedy Cellar
I
email.
thought I did the Comedy Cellar one.
But yeah.
Following you, Deepa.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Oh, and leave a review for the show. Really helps the show.
You were listening to Live from America podcast. To contact us, please go to www.livefromamericapodcast.com. Brought to you by the Comedy Cellar and Rethink Production.